On Stoicism Breath, we often talk about the difference between appearances and reality, and nowhere is that more important than in relationships. A man rarely discovers a woman's true character when she is in love with him, when she is smiling and affectionate, or when life feels effortless. Those are the easy moments. Anyone can act devoted when the conditions are comfortable. Her real nature shows up in silence when nobody is watching, when she no longer needs you, when there's nothing for her to gain. Too many men confuse sweet words with loyalty or public affection with commitment. They pay the price in wasted years and broken trust. Because character is never built on performance, it is built on patterns. And those patterns always reveal themselves when the spotlight fades. That is what this video is about, the silent test that no one can fake. The hidden moments that reveal whether her love is real or whether it is just convenience disguised as devotion. If you pay attention to these tests, you stop being blinded by words or seduced by beauty. You begin to see the truth clearly, and that truth will protect your future. Think about it. A man can be fooled by charming words. He can be swept away by affection. He can be blinded by physical attraction. But silence never lies. Because when no one is watching, when there is no applause, when there is no benefit to act in a certain way, character has nowhere to hide. Most men judge a woman by how she behaves when she is with them. She is affectionate. She calls him baby. She leans on his shoulder. She posts pictures online. But here is the hard truth. That is not her real self. That is her performance in a moment where she benefits from closeness. The real test is not who she is when she is by your side, but who she is when you are not around. This is where the first silent test comes in. Comfort creates illusions. When life is easy, when the relationship is fresh, when the attraction is strong, anyone can appear loyal. It costs nothing to say the right words. It costs nothing to smile for the photos. It costs nothing to post about you on social media. That is why so many men fall into the trap. They mistake comfort for character, but comfort is cheap. Loyalty in comfort does not mean loyalty in chaos. Trust in loyalty in good times is like trusting a soldier's courage because he looks sharp in uniform without ever seeing him in battle. A woman's character is not revealed by how much she adores you when everything is perfect. It is revealed by how consistent she is when circumstances shift, when the crowd disappears, when temptation whispers, when you are no longer a resource she needs. That is when her truth comes out. The second silent test is this: silence is where patterns live. Silence strips away the mask. When a woman is alone, when she believes nobody is paying attention, when she feels no one is evaluating her, that is when her defaults emerge. And those defaults are far more honest than anything she could ever tell you. Ask yourself these questions. Does she still honor your bond when you are not in the room? Does she protect your name when you cannot hear it? Does she maintain her boundaries when breaking them would carry no immediate consequence? These are the questions most men never ask because they are too distracted by the performance she puts on when the lights are bright. Here is the truth. Anyone can act loyal when supervised. Only a woman with integrity remains loyal when she has freedom. And that difference between performance and principle, between comfort and consistency, will decide whether you build a future on solid ground or on illusions. On Stoicism Breath, we uncover truths that many men overlook. Anyone can act loyal when someone is watching. Anyone can smile in public, hold your hand in front of friends and say the right words. But true integrity is measured when freedom is present. Only a woman with real character remains loyal when she has the space and opportunity to do otherwise. Most men fail this test. Because they confuse suspicion with discernment. Suspicion breeds paranoia. It makes you restless, always reading into every text, every pause, every glance. You start checking her phone, overthinking her delays, and interrogating her every move. That is not wisdom. That is insecurity. Discernment is very different. Discernment is calm observation. It does not stalk or accuse, it simply pays attention to patterns. Do her actions match her words? Does her respect exist only when others are watching, or does it remain steady in private? The ancient Stoics taught us not to judge by appearances. They said you judge a tree not by the shade it gives in summer, but by how it stands firm in the storms of winter. In the same way, you do not measure a woman by how she treats you when life is smooth, but by how she behaves when no one is watching, when she has the freedom to choose differently. Consider the story of James. He was in his 40s recovering from a painful divorce. After years of loneliness, he met a woman who seemed perfect. She was affectionate, charming, and endlessly praising their connection. In public, she held his hand, proudly laughed at his jokes, and told her friends how much she admired him. James thought he had finally found something rare. But when the lights faded, when she was out with her girlfriends or away on business, subtle cracks appeared. Her phone slipped out of sight too quickly. Conversations ended abruptly when he walked into the room. She dodged simple questions. Nothing dramatic, but enough to reveal the truth. Her loyalty was conditional. She performed it when eyes were on her, but in silence her integrity wavered. That is when James realized her loyalty was not a principle. It was not a code. It was just an outfit, something she wore when it served her image, and something she removed when the stage was empty. And that is the trap too many men fall into. They fall in love with the outfit, but never test for the code. This is the critical distinction that must stay etched in your mind. Loyalty as an outfit is performance. It is the affectionate caption under a photo, the sweet words said in front of an audience, the warmth that comes when she leans on your resources or your attention. It looks good, it feels good, but it is temporary. Conditional, tied to who is watching and what she gains. Loyalty as a code is something far deeper. It is principle. It is what she does when she does not need you. It is how she speaks about you when you will never hear it. It is the boundaries she protects when temptation arrives, and no one would blame her for bending. A code is invisible, but unshakable. It does not require an audience or applause. It is simply who she is. A woman wearing the outfit of loyalty can deceive you for months, even years. But a woman who lives by a code does not need to prove herself. Her patterns prove it for her. And this is why wisdom matters so much. You do not need to create traps. You do not need to play games. Life itself will provide the situations where silence, freedom, and consistency reveal everything. All you need to do is observe. On Stoicism. Breath. We remind ourselves that life always provides the tests. You do not need to create them. A trip away from you, a stressful season, a period when she no longer depends on you emotionally or financially. Those are the natural stages where her true self comes forward. If she honors you in those silences, you have discovered something rare. If she does not, the warning is clear. The Stoic teacher Epictetus once said, "Circumstances do not make the man they reveal him. The same truth applies to women. Silence does not create disloyalty, it only uncovers it. Freedom does not create betrayal, it only exposes what was hidden all along." So where does that leave a man? Your role is not to cling, not to police, not to demand constant reassurance. Your role is to observe with calm eyes, to discern patterns, and then act with clarity. If her actions match her words in silence, value her. She is rare if they do not accept the truth. Early and walk away. Do not spend years negotiating with red flags. Do not confuse a beautiful performance for genuine character. The man who mistakes chemistry for character will always find himself broken. The man who disciplines himself to see through silence will always protect his peace. Silence has a power of its own. It strips away the masks people wear when the audience is watching. And nowhere is that more revealing than in the test of freedom. Most men judge a woman by her affection in the easy moments, by her smile when she leans on his arm or posts about him online. But that is not character, that is performance. The true test is how she behaves when she is free, when no one is watching, when there is no consequence, when she could get away with it. What does she choose? Does she still protect what is sacred? Does she treat freedom as responsibility or as permission? A loyal woman does not need surveillance. She does not need constant check-ins. Her code is internal. Whether she is out with friends traveling for work or awake, scrolling late at night, her choices reflect who she truly is, not the image she performs. But without that internal code, freedom becomes a stage, small cracks appear, a hidden message, a door left half open, a little too much attention entertained. These may seem small, but they are seeds, and seeds always grow. That is why freedom is such a powerful test. It does not invent loyalty or betrayal, it only uncovers what was already there. Here we come again to the vital distinction: outfit versus code. Loyalty as an outfit is external, it is presentation. She puts it on when people are watching, it shines when you are in the room or when friends and family are near. But the moment the spotlight fades, the outfit comes off. Loyalty as a code is something deeper. It is internal, it is principle. She lives it even when no one is clapping, even when no one will ever know. It is not about appearance, it is about integrity. The man who trusts the outfit will always be disappointed. The man who waits patiently for the code will always be secure. On Stoicism Breath, we return to the story of James, a middle-aged man rebuilding life after divorce. He thought he had found the perfect partner. She laughed at his jokes, held his arm proudly in public, and told her friends how much she valued him. To anyone watching, she was the picture of loyalty. But when she travelled, when she was out of town, James began to notice subtle changes. Her phone was tucked away too quickly. Conversations ended abruptly when he walked into the room. One night, he got a glimpse of a vague late-night message from another man. Not evidence of betrayal, but clearly hidden. That was enough. The truth became clear. Her loyalty glowed under the spotlight but flickered in the dark. Around him she performed, away from him she cracked. James did not explode, he did not interrogate. He observed, and that simple act saved him years of confusion, because freedom had revealed the truth. Her loyalty was not a code, it was an outfit, something she wore for the stage and removed when it no longer served her. This is why so many men miss the test. They confuse chemistry with character. Chemistry feels good. Sweet texts, cozy weekends, public affection. Those moments light up the heart. But chemistry is a state, not a standard. It tells you how pleasant today feels, not how secure tomorrow will be. The Stoics warned against this very trap. Epictetus wrote, "Circumstances do not make the man, they reveal him." The same is true for women. Comfortable circumstances can make anyone look loyal. Freedom reveals whether that loyalty is real or borrowed. Applying this test does not mean paranoia. It does not mean stalking her phone or grilling her with endless questions. That is insecurity, not discernment. A wise man does not chase shadows. He observes patterns. He asks, does her tone change when she is with friends, compared to when she is with me? Do her boundaries remain solid whether I am near or far? Does her respect stay steady even when there is no benefit to her image? You do not need dramatic setups or trap, just watch the baseline. If it stays consistent in freedom, you can trust it. If it collapses in silence, you already have your answer. Here is the good news. A woman who passes the freedom test gives you something rare. Peace. You do not second guess. You do not analyze every text. You do not spiral into suspicion. Her consistency itself is reassurance. That is what men crave, though many will not admit it. A woman whose loyalty does not depend on eyes watching or benefits flowing. A woman who is aligned, not just acting. The bottom line is simple. Freedom does not create betrayal, it exposes it. Freedom does not invent loyalty, it reveals it. So never judge her by what she says when you are around. Judge her by what she repeats when you are not. If she treats freedom as permission to bend boundaries, take it as a warning. If she treats freedom as responsibility, you have found something golden, and once you see the difference, you will never again mistake performance for principle. Respect works the same way. It is not revealed when everything is smooth. Respect is revealed the moment you say no. Too many men never realize this. They confuse compliance with harmony. They believe that constant agreement will make her love them more. But the reality is very different. A woman's reaction to your boundaries tells you far more about her character than her reaction to your generosity. On Stoicism Breath. we face one of the most overlooked truths in relationships. Respect is not tested when you say yes. Respect is tested when you say no. When you agree with everything, when you give her exactly what she wants, there is no real test. Anyone can smile when things are easy. Anyone can act loving when they're getting their way. The true measure of respect shows up when you calmly, firmly, and unapologetically draw a line. When you say, no, I cannot cancel my priorities just to text you all day. No, I will not allow disrespect even if you are upset. No, I do not agree with that, and I will not pretend I do. In that moment, her reaction reveals who she truly is. There are two very different outcomes: genuine respect and conditional respect. With genuine respect, she may be frustrated, she may pout, but deep down she adjusts. She understands that your boundaries are part of your identity. She may not like hearing no, but she respects the man who is not afraid to say it. Conditional respect is something else entirely. She explodes, she manipulates, she withdraws affection, she punishes you for daring to push back. That is not respect, that is a transaction. She respects you only as long as you give her what she wants. The second you do not, the mask comes off. That is not love, that is leverage. The Stoics spoke about this with clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." A man who cannot say no is a man who has lost control of his life. He is no longer leading himself. He has handed over leadership to her. Mood's Epictetus was even more blunt. How long will you put off thinking yourself worthy of the best if you cannot stand on your principles? You will forever accept less than you deserve. Imagine a simple dinner scenario. You are out together and the conversation turns. She asks you to do something you are not comfortable with. Maybe lend money to a friend of hers or cancel a commitment that matters to you. You look her in the eye, calm and steady, and say, "No, I cannot do that." If she truly respects you, she may sulk briefly, but in her heart she comes around. She actually feels safer because women do not admire men who fold. They admire men who stand firm. If she does not truly respect you, she reacts with rage, blame, or manipulation. She tries to make you feel guilty for having a backbone, and in that moment the truth is revealed. Why do most men fail this test? Because too many are terrified of upsetting women. They think constant agreement will buy affection. They believe that by saying yes to everything they will be loved more. In reality, the opposite happens. Every time you cave, you train her to lose respect. Every time you abandon your principles, you weaken her attraction. Women do not admire men who are endlessly agreeable. They admire men who can weather emotional storms without losing their center. Here is the bottom line. Respect is always a reflection of self-respect. She can only respect you to the degree that you respect yourself. If you are afraid to say no, if you collapse your standards just to keep her happy, you do not only lose her respect, you lose your own. And the truth is, no woman can truly love a man she does not respect. On Stoicism Breath, we come to a practical lens for applying the respect test. You do not need tricks or elaborate experiments, you only need to live with clear boundaries and pay close attention. When you say, "I am busy, I will call later," does she accept it, or does she punish you? When you disagree with her, does she respond with logic or attack with emotion? When you stand your ground, does she admire your strength or despise it? Her reaction is your answer. Here is the bottom line. Respect is not flowers, compliments, or public affection. Respect is what survives when you tell her no. If she still respects you even in disappointment, you have found character. If she withdraws respect the moment her desires are denied, you have uncovered manipulation. A woman who truly loves you will accept your boundaries. A woman who only loves convenience will despise them, and that single difference will decide whether your relationship is built on respect or built on sand. The same principle applies to loyalty. Loyalty is not tested when she needs you. Loyalty is tested when she does not. Most men confuse gratitude with devotion. They think she appreciates me, she leans on me, she needs me. This must be loyalty, but that is an illusion. Her real character emerges when the need disappears. when she no longer depends on you financially, emotionally, or socially, that is. When you see her soul without filters, this is the illusion of conditional loyalty. When she is vulnerable, when she is struggling, when you are her rock. Of course, she is warm, appreciative, affectionate. In those moments, you are filling a role in her life. But ask yourself, is she loyal to you or is she loyal to the benefits you provide? The moment she gets back on her feet, when she no longer needs you to carry her weight, does she still treat you with the same respect? Or does her tone shift? Does the warmth fade? If so, that is not loyalty, that is convenience disguised as commitment. Consider the story of Michael. He had been single for years before meeting a woman who seemed deeply appreciative. She called him after work, leaned on his wisdom, and enjoyed his stability. For a man re-entering the dating world, that validation felt intoxicating. He felt needed, and it gave him a sense of purpose. But things changed. She got a better job. Her social circle returned. She was financially independent again, and suddenly her tone shifted. Plans were cancelled. Calls grew shorter. Conversations became forced. Michael finally realized the hard truth. She was never loyal to him. She was loyal to her need for him. And once that need disappeared, so did her affection. This is the sharp line between gratitude and loyalty. Gratitude fades. Loyalty does not. A woman who is only grateful will treat you well when you are useful. But the moment your usefulness dries up, so does her affection. A woman who is truly loyal will honor you regardless of circumstance. Even when she does not need you, she still chooses to value you. That is rare. That is real. That is loyalty. The Stoics gave us a powerful reflection. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Apply that wisdom to relationships. A woman's loyalty is not proven by how much she gains from you, but by how little her treatment of you changes when she no longer needs anything. On Stoicism Breath, we look at another silent but powerful test, a job promotion test. Imagine you are dating a woman who leaned on you heavily when life was difficult. You were her rock, her stability, her reassurance. Then life changes. She earns a big promotion. Suddenly she is financially stable, socially admired, and emotionally confident. Now comes the moment of truth. Does she still look at you with respect? Does she still make space for you in her new world? Or do you feel her pulling away, dismissing your value now that she no longer needs your stability? This is where so many men stumble. They get trapped in the illusion of permanence. They think she is so warm to me now, she will always be this way. But warmth that depends on need is always temporary. When you tie your worth to being useful, you set yourself up to be discarded the moment you are no longer required. That is why this test feels brutal, but in reality it is merciful. It saves you from building your life on borrowed loyalty. Real loyalty looks different. It is steady, it respects you when you can give and when you cannot. It values you in times of need and in times of abundance. It honors the bond not for what it provides, but for what it means. That is the kind of woman worth building with. The bottom line is this. The way she treats you when she no longer needs you is the clearest mirror of her soul. If her respect evaporates once the benefits fade, it was never love. It was transaction. But if her respect remains steady even when she stands strong on her own, that is loyalty. And in today's world, loyalty is gold. Never confuse conditional affection with unconditional loyalty. One fades as soon as circumstances change. The other stands firm because it is rooted in values, not needs. Pressure does not create character, it reveals it. Anyone can look loyal, affectionate, and perfect when life is calm. But when the storm hits, when stress, conflict, or crisis arrive, the mask falls away and instinct takes over. Chaos does not invent who she is, it exposes who she has been all along. That is why chaos is the ultimate X-ray. Calm waters hide everything, but when bills stack up, when health struggles appear, when misunderstandings spark, that is when her raw nature comes forward. Does she lash out, turn cruel, or use love as a weapon? Or does she stay composed, respectful, and steady even in fire? Those moments tell you more than years of sweet words. Too many men fall for the illusion of good times. They judge a woman by how she treats them on vacations, at candlelit dinners, or when money is flowing, but that is not character, that is circumstance. The real question is, how does she act when she is tired, when she is frustrated, when she does not get her way? If respect collapses under inconvenience, it was never real. Consider Daniel's story. He dated a woman who seemed like a dream, supportive, kind, always saying the right things. Then Daniel lost his job. At first she comforted him, saying, "We will get through this." But within weeks her tone shifted. Small arguments became big fights. She mocked his
situation. She withheld affection. What did the chaos do? It revealed what was already there. Her commitment was not to him, but to the lifestyle he provided. Daniel did not lose her during the storm. He discovered her during the storm. On Stoicism Breath, we saw how Daniel's story ended. She withheld affection when the storm of unemployment hit, but the truth is, he did not lose her during the chaos, he discovered her during it. Her commitment was never to him, but to the lifestyle he provided. Chaos did not change her, it revealed her. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you are distressed by an external thing, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment of it." Applied here, a woman who truly values you does not let external stress turn into internal disrespect. She may feel the pressure, but her principles remain intact. Now picture a simple argument test. You tell her no, no to an expense, no to an outing, no to something unreasonable. How does she respond if she throws insults, manipulates,
or threatens withdrawal at his chaos, exposing entitlement? But if she disagrees while remaining respectful, you have glimpsed a woman with discipline and true character. Most men miss this test because they confuse intensity with passion. They think she only screamed because she cares. She only insulted me because she was upset. But pressure does not create new behavior. It unmasks old patterns. If she disrespects you under stress, she will disrespect you when it matters most. So what does passing the chaos test look like? She may get upset, but she never dishonors you. She may disagree, but she does not destroy trust. She may feel pressure, but she does not let it turn into poison. That is rare, and that is the kind of woman who builds with you, not against you. Here is the bottom line. Pressure does not change people, it reveals them, and chaos will always come. Bills will pile up, health struggles will appear, misunderstandings will spark. How she treats you in those storms is how she will treat you when
life truly tests your bond? If she collapses into blame, manipulation or cruelty, do not excuse it as just stress. That is her truth, but if she steadies herself, maintains respect, and chooses the bond even in hardship, that is her real character, and brother in a world full of performances. Chaos is the clearest lens. Masks can charm you. Words can seduce you. Even loyalty can be acted out. But true character shows in silence, in freedom, and in chaos. A woman's real self appears when no one is watching and when she no longer needs you. If she respects you, then you have found something rare. If she does not, you have found the truth. And truth is always better than illusion, because it protects your time, your heart, and your peace. So stop being blinded by sweet words or weekend highs. Start paying attention to patterns in silence. Let her actions, not her promises, show you who she really is. Because clarity is not just power. Clarity is freedom. If these words open your eyes, share them with a brother who
needs to hear this. Too many men bleed from wounds they could have avoided with wisdom. Do not let that be your story. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and above all, protect your peace. Because in the end, peace is the only prize worth fighting for.